Look at my cup. Like, look at that. Like, why can I not just stick to one little area of this mug? What is up, you guys? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It will really help me out and it'll help my channel grow. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure you turn on your post notifications. It will just make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. And obviously, if you do like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And just let me know in the comments if you did enjoy this video and if you want to see me do more Q&As. I've got my coffee today because I thought we're doing like a little, I guess, girl chat kind of thing. And I wanted to obviously make it more like a comfortable environment. And I know I ramble on, so I'll probably make this video so long when I'm filming, but that's what editing's for, right? And that's why I've got my coffee, because I know I'll probably just be sitting here for so long talking to you guys, but that's okay. As you can see by the title, that my video is more of a personal Q&A. So I've already done a sort of fun get to know me Q&A on my channel. I'll link that if you haven't already watched it. But this one's a bit more personal, and I wanted to relate it mostly to marriage and relationships, and give you guys advice and just sort of open up about my own marriage. You know, the struggles, the great things, the actual wedding, stuff like that. Especially for anyone that is thinking of getting married soon, is already engaged, planning their wedding. I feel like this will really help you guys as well, but also let you guys know a little bit more about me and my marriage. So the first question is, how did me and my husband meet? And we actually met, most of you probably won't know this, but we actually met back in school. So it was actually junior school, so we were really young. We were about 8 years old when we first met. And for those of you who are in the UK, that's I think year 4. And then I left at the end of year 5, so I wasn't there in year 6. And then obviously after that we went into high school, and we didn't see each other since then, I believe. Like he used to say he used to see me around, and he thought I was cute and stuff, but he never really like spoke to me or thought about approaching me. But I don't really remember seeing him, and if I did, I probably wouldn't have recognised him from school. And then we met again later on in life when we were adults, and we met when, I think 8 years ago, so in 2012. We met around July time, so summer, so 8 years now. And we actually met in a shopping mall. I was with my cousin, he was with his cousin, and he stopped me and he said, "Were you that short girl in my class?" And I really didn't know who he was or what he was talking about, but I was just like, okay. And we just started talking, exchanged numbers, and the rest is history, I guess. So the biggest shock about marriage, the fact that he can't read my mind. Like, honestly, like, isn't he supposed to be able to read my mind and know exactly what I'm thinking at all times? No, I'm just kidding. The biggest shock about marriage, I would probably say, is just learning that once you're married and you move in with each other, you know, you're no longer two separate individuals. You become like one. So everything you do affects the other person and vice versa. So you're no longer just thinking about yourself and what you want and where you can spend your own money and your needs. You're now thinking about this whole other person, and you're having to bring everything together. You know, marriage is a union, and it's two people coming together, sharing everything, and almost becoming like one soul. And you know, you just can't be selfish when you're married. And it took time, I guess, for both of us to realize that no longer are we just thinking about ourselves. We now need to express everything that we do with each other first and communicate that first. So whether that's, oh, I want to buy something that's, I guess, more expensive, then, you know, you have to express that to your partner. And, you know, being really open about finances and any small decision that you want to make, even if it's a career decision, even if it's if you want to go on holiday, you know, anything like that, is now you have to run everything past each other and stop thinking that you're just two separate people, because you're not. And we're still learning that, like, it's it's difficult to, obviously, you know, for the majority of your life it's just you know, and even if you're dating, it's pretty much just you, because your own stuff is your own business, right? And now that you're married, it's like you know, it's almost like having a kid. You kind of have to just, like, I guess, put your whole life with that person and trust that they'll make the same decisions that you will, and that you're on the same page. And I feel like that only comes with communication. So advice for someone wanting to get married at a young age. So me and my husband got married at, I'll say, a kind of young age. Like, it wasn't, I don't see it as being too young. I feel like it's kind of like the right age, because, you know, you finish university, you both got jobs, but it might not be like the career that you're planning to be in, because you're still young, you know, you're still figuring things out. But I feel like it was a good age in terms of, you know, we've worked a while, we've done all the education stuff, and now I guess it's the time. So the advice I would give to anyone, especially those who are young, is make sure you're not rushing into anything, because, you know, the person you're marrying is the person you want to spend your whole life with. So just make sure you're not rushing things, and make sure you're both really, really ready for it. Not just feel like one person is pressuring the other person, because that is the one thing you don't want to do, is feel like you're being pressured into something. Also, make sure that your finances are stable. Obviously, it's not always going to be the case, and it's not always going to be the case throughout your marriage. But as long as at the start of your marriage, you know, you both have jobs, I guess, or at least one person has a job that can look after the other person. You have a little bit saved up just so you know, you're going to be comfortable in case somebody does lose their job or whatever, or just enough to pay the wedding. You know, you want enough to be able to pay your wedding. But if you obviously got people to help you out, that's great. And also knowing where you want to live. So having that planned out as well, because you don't want to sort of get married and then feel like, oh, where are we going to live now? Like, we haven't already sorted that out. Because don't forget, yes, it's great to get married and the wedding is great and everything, but a marriage isn't the wedding. You need to think long term and think past the actual wedding bit, and actually past the actual getting married bit, because that is only such a small part of marriage, and you really need to consider everything that comes along with marriage. Compatibility, you know, how are you really open with each other? Have you got open communication? Do you both know each other's finances? Do you both want kids, or do you not want kids? You know, you just have to discuss these things before actually taking the step on getting married. And just, you know that there's no rush. But if you do want to get married at a young age and you've got all your shit sorted, then that's great, and do you. Biggest fight. Now we're really getting personal here, because I don't discuss really personal stuff like that. But biggest fight, I mean, there's been a few, and obviously if you've been with someone for 8 years and married for just over 4 years, then you are going to get into some big fights. To be honest, like, some of our big fights have mostly revolved around finance, and I feel like it's really common for just any couple, especially a married couple, to fight about finance. And, you know, one of the biggest causes of divorce is financial issues and financial stress. Obviously we don't let it get that far, because I feel like we do have a communication before it actually gets to the actual arguing or fighting or whatever. But finances definitely has to be one, whether it's, you know, one of us wants to spend something on something that's more expensive, and then the other person has to obviously think, you know, like, do we have enough? Can we afford to spend that much this month? How much are we going to put into savings? You know, are we saving for something that then we don't want to spend too much, because we know we've got a goal that we're saving each month for a specific thing. So just little stuff like that, that if you don't openly communicate can then sort of build up, and then at the end of it, you know, you end up arguing or fighting about things. And like I said, in marriage, you can't be selfish, you know. You might want to buy something or spend your money because you've worked hard to spend that money, and you know, it might be annoying that now you're having to go through someone else, but you know, you just have to look out for each other and know that what the best interest is for both of you, and whether that is saving or whether that's not spending that amount this month, then you're just going to have to do it. And it's all about sacrifice, because that's what marriage is, and that's the only way that you can have a successful marriage is by communication, sacrifice, and obviously putting each other first. Literally, I'm getting through this coffee so quick, it's so good, but it's keeping me going. So the next one is how we deal with jealousy. Now, I don't want to say I'm a really jealous person. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, if I'm being really honest here, like, okay, it's just me, you, we're, you know, having drinks, we're chatting. Let's just be really honest. Yes, I am jealous. Okay, but you know what? I never used to be. I never really used to be the jealous type, especially when we were dating. But I don't know what it is. As soon as we got married, I just became really jealous. And I don't know if it's now because, like, we're married and I think, like, okay, now he's definitely mine, so stay away. But, you know, I feel like it's more of a communication thing. Like, if I feel like there's something that might be crossing the boundaries, and I've openly discussed it with him and he still actively goes and does it, or, you know, or whatever, or crosses any certain boundaries, then yes, I will be jealous and I'll be annoyed. And same with him. Like, for him, I think it's the opposite. He might disagree, okay, but like I said, we're being honest here. He was really jealous when we were dating, like really jealous, and I never really experienced that before dating someone, like having someone who was really jealous, but he was. But now he's less jealous, I would say, and it's since we've been married. And I feel like it can be like that with couples. Some couples might never be jealous, some couples might always be jealous, and then there's some that, like myself, might have not been jealous, you know, dating, but as soon as you get married, that jealousy sort of creeps in, and it might be the opposite for some, and that's just how we are. So sometimes I'm like, like, why are you not getting jealous? Like, you, in a way, you want your partner to feel that little bit of jealousy, you know, because you know that they care and obviously love you, and it's cute when they get jealous, because it's like, you know you're not doing anything, but it's just cute when the other person gets slightly jealous. Well, then there's me, who's a little bit, you know, on the crazy side when it comes to that, but you just have to, I think, have an open communication, and there's me rambling on again. You just have to have an open communication and express to your partner, like, what makes you jealous and why you felt jealous, and also boundaries. And, you know, if they really love you and care about you and respect you, they will adhere to those boundaries and not feel like they want to upset you or feel like they want to cross it because you've already expressed it to them. And if you haven't expressed it to them and they do something that can slightly make you jealous, then that's your time to say something, because you can't expect your partner to be a mind reader and know, like, what you're feeling and what you feel is a boundary, you know? Like I said, we're not mind readers, and we can't expect him to know exactly what we're thinking at all times, so just express that to each other. And I feel like I do express that to him, but I still get jealous about the same things all the time. But he doesn't, like, he's very good, he doesn't do anything. But I'm just saying, even if it's from other girls, you know, it's like, you can trust your partner, but you can't trust other people, if that makes sense. Advice for someone getting married and planning their wedding. Okay, so I can give a little bit of advice on this, but not too much, just because when we got married, we weren't engaged for very long. So we got married and engaged in the same year. And because we didn't have the main like wedding reception party, if you want to know more about that, watch my video, What I Wish I Knew Before Getting Married. I'll link that as well. Then you'll know a little bit more about the context behind our wedding and stuff. But advice for someone is, I guess, mostly don't stress and relax, and don't let one day, you know, consume your whole mind and make you go crazy and make you stress. Because like I said earlier, a wedding day is amazing and it's showing your love and it's celebrating your love, but it's just one day, you know. The important part is the actual marriage afterwards. And if you're going to stress so much about one day, that can really interfere with your relationship with your partner, because, you know, this crazy side of you can come out, and when you're stressed, it's not easy on the other person. And if you're feeling like you're taking stuff out on them because they're not either pulling their weight, or they're not helping you as much, or they're not giving as much input, then, you know, all you're going to do is butt heads and argue and argue and argue, and that's not good for your relationship. And you're just going to go into marriage, you know, being angry at each other and stuff like that. And I feel like, you know, just, it's so easy to say relax, and it's so like obvious, but really it's so important to just relax and take your time and communicate with each other. You know, if you find something that you really like, communicate that with your partner, involve each other. Don't feel like you have to do everything, because you don't. That is what your partner is there for. That is what your family is there for, your friends. Involve people, let them help you out. Take some weight off your shoulders, because the last thing you want is to take control of everything and your partner's just sitting back like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here, drink my cup of coffee and do nothing, you know? You wanna feel like, you know, you're sharing this experience, because at the end of the day, you're going into this marriage together, so you wanna share every aspect of it. You know, you wanna share the experience of planning this wedding and finally doing something together that involves, I guess, the rest of your lives, because that's what marriage is. And just know that it is just one day, and when it comes to the actual wedding day, you're gonna have fun, you're gonna enjoy it, so, you know, everything's gonna go the way that you want, hopefully, and just don't stress too much about it. So, living together before marriage. Now, we only lived together a couple weeks before getting married. So it wasn't very long, and I don't feel like it was enough time to really get to know how the other person is living with each other, because it's not. You know, you really need that time to know how the other person is, you know, whether they just dump their clothes on the floor, whether they leave the toilet seat up, you know, stuff like that. That could probably irritate you and cause arguments, but we didn't live together that long. And honestly, it was mostly religious, because of religion. And I know, like, yeah, we shouldn't have been living together at all before marriage, but we did. And it wasn't long, like I said, we literally got married after a couple of weeks. So, you know, that was the intent, to get married. So it wasn't like we were just living together, then we break up, go our separate ways, whatever. And then it's like, who gets the sofa? Who gets, you know, who gets the table? Who gets this pillow? Do you know what I mean? Because if you're living together before getting married and stuff, it can be very messy if you do break up. And especially if you've got mortgage and it's like, who gets what? But it is, I guess, important, because you get to really know each other. But there's nothing wrong with living with each other before getting married, unless you're really religious. Then obviously follow that, and, you know, wait until you do get married, because it's also really exciting to look forward to not only your wedding and being married, but finally living with each other. That can be really exciting as well, because it's new, it's fresh. You kind of just start learning more about each other through just living with each other. So I don't see, to be honest, I don't see anything wrong with living with each other before getting married or living with each other once married. It's all obviously personal preference. It comes down to religion. Yes, I wish I could have probably lived with him longer before getting married, but at the end of the day, because we only lived with each other a couple of weeks, and where we lived wasn't somewhere where it was more of a permanent home, we were only there 6 months, and then we moved. So, you know, it kind of felt exciting to have something to look forward to, and then obviously plan and decorate our new place once we moved out. So yeah, do what's best for you, and if you're someone who really wants to know what it's like living with someone before getting married, then obviously do that, because you don't want any surprises once you do live with each other, because you think you know someone, but then when you move in, it's like a completely different thing, and you might be shocked, honestly. And if that's not what you want, then figure it out before you get married. Literally, I don't know how I'm drinking this coffee, but look at my cup. Like, look at that. Like, why can I not just stick to one little area of this mug? I'm literally just going around. So by the time we finish this video, you're just gonna see red lipstick stains all around my mug. Like, literally can't just stick to one little spot. So, do you both want kids? Yes. Now, we both want kids. The great thing was, before we even got married, literally like way into our relationship, we were talking about kids. We even had kids' names picked out, not boys, but girls' name picked out. We both sort of agreed, and it's more of a Bosnian name, which I like, because I kind of just want to keep it within my culture and have like a nice Bosnian name, especially for the girl. But yeah, we both want kids, and we both literally always said we both wanted 2 kids. Now, obviously, if we get 1 kid, that's great, you know. If we get 2 kids, even better, because that's obviously what we wanted. But I don't think we'd want more. But yeah, I feel like it's important, again, talking about before getting married, it's important to discuss with each other if you both want kids, or if you don't want kids, or, you know, if one of you wants kids and the other doesn't. You know, it's kind of important for you to know that beforehand, because you can't expect that you can change a person. I mean, it does happen where someone in the relationship might not want kids, and they're adamant, like, I don't want kids, and then 5 years, 10 years down the line, they're like, okay, I think I've changed my mind, I think I'm ready, I think I want a kid, which is great, and that's great for you. But it doesn't happen often where the person just changes their mind, you know. And if your partner has already expressed to you, I don't want kids, don't feel like you can change them, or that they'll change their mind later down the line, because a lot of the times it does not happen like that. You need to be on the same page, and it might be that that person's not right for you if you really want kids and they don't, because the last thing you want is to get married and spend years and years with this person and realize, yes, they definitely didn't want kids, and now you're like, okay, you're regretting marrying that person, or you know, you take things out on them because you know that they stopped you from really having what you wanted, and you start to resent that person, and that is not what you want, because that's not what a healthy marriage is, and it's something that can lead to divorce, and then you might just feel like you've wasted your time. So really communicate whether you both want kids straight away or not, because it's really important to know that, and don't expect to change that person, is all I'm saying. So the last thing I want to touch upon, and I feel like it's a good way to sort of wrap up this video, is how did you know he was the one? Now, this question is, you know, you can come at it in so many different ways and so many different angles, because there's not just one answer that can really, I guess, tell you how someone is the one. It can be many things, you know. And it's not necessarily saying, you know, he's the one, like, because when you're in a relationship, you're always like, oh, this person's the one, I can see myself marrying this person, like, and then the next thing you know, you break up, you know? But really knowing someone is the one, or your soulmate, or whatever you want to call it, is different factors, you know? It's not just about this love struck, like, I'm in love, like, I know he's my soulmate. It's these little things that add up that can really tell you that that person is meant for you. And it's stuff like compatibility, whether you both want the same things, your personality, how you both are together. You know, do you bring out the best in each other, or do you bring out the worst in each other? How much you support each other. You know, it's important, like I said, kids as well, that's also another important factor, where you both want to live. So, you know, it's great to say that this person is the one for you, or that they're your soulmate, but if you don't have these other things, then your marriage isn't going to work, because a marriage does not work as much as you want it to. A marriage does not work just on love. You know, it'll be amazing if it did, and it'll be so easy if it did, and most marriages would probably last if it did, but it doesn't. A marriage only works when you're both putting in the effort and you're both working on it and bringing these different elements, you know? It's great you have the love, but do you have the communication? Do you have the trust? Do you both want the same things? So I feel like that is how you know someone is the one, if they sort of tick all these boxes of, you know, how is it going to be in 10, 20 years time? You know, are you both going to want to still live in the same place you're living, same city, same town? Anything like that can honestly tell you if someone is the one. And yes, you do have to love that person, you do have to be in love with that person. They also have to be your best friend, because you can't just be with someone because you love them but you don't get along, or you don't even like that person, you know? As much as it's important to be in love with the person, it's also important to be friends with the person. And I feel like that's what works for us, and that's one of the reasons I knew that he was someone I wanted to be with and marry, because we were friends first. And we just loved hanging out and talking and just spending that time with each other. And I really think that's important. And when you are looking for someone, or you feel like you have found the one or your soulmate, really look at all these different aspects, as well as obviously just how much you love them, you know, because that's also just as important as being in love. Honestly, good timing, because I've literally almost finished my coffee and we've come to the end of this video. But I hope you guys found this really helpful and enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more of these marriage related, relationship related Q&As, please comment below and let me know what you want to see on my channel. You know, I have a lot of different advice I can give you guys, especially when it comes to relationships and marriage, just because I've been through it myself. And I'm talking really quick now because I'm looking at the viewfinder and my battery is about to die, and I don't want it to die whilst I'm filming this video. But thank you again for watching this video. I really do appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your support, and you liking and commenting on these videos. And like I said, I want my channel to be a safe place where you can come and share your opinions, share your experiences, and we can have these sort of girl chats together, and really get to know each other on more of a personal level. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah!